Good day, viewers. You are welcome to my channel. On today's topic, we'll be looking at relative molecular mass. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to know how to calculate the relative molecular mass of any compound that's given to you. Okay, as the name implies, relative molecular mass is the mass of 1 mole of that substance. Okay, let's look at the definition. So, relative molecular mass of an element or compound is the number of times the mass of that element, or the mass of 1 mole, 1 molecule of the element or compound is heavier than 1/12 of the mass of 1 atom of carbon-12. So you can see relative atomic mass of 1 molecule of substance divided by what? 1/12 the mass of 1 atom of carbon-12. So this carbon-12, that's one of the isotopes of carbon, is one of the stable isotopes of carbon. Have carbon-12 and carbon-13. So this carbon-12 is chosen as what? As standard to compare it with the mass of other elements. So you can see the unit of relative atomic mass does not carry any unit because it's expressed as what? Ratio. Let's look at the following exercise. Calculate the relative molecular mass of the following compounds. So you can see number 1 is what? SO2, sulfur 4-oxide. Number 2 is what? Lead-2 chloride. Number 3, copper-2 triosonitrate 5. Number 4, magnesium tetraoxosulfate 6 heptahydrate. So this one is what? Calcium tetraoxophosphate 5. At times, it can be asked to maybe to calculate the relative molecular mass of a compound. The compound will be written in words. And if you don't know how to write the chemical formula of that compound, so it means that your answer will be wrong. Because wrong chemical formula will lead to what? Wrong answer. Wrong molecular mass. Okay, so I did a video on how to write chemical formula. You can watch that video. It will help you a lot if you're having challenges on how to write chemical formula. Okay, let's start with number 1. So, how to calculate molecular mass? The atomic mass of the element will be given to you, provided for the student. It will be given. So it will be given to you. Each of them will be given to you. So it's just for you to do relative atomic mass equals to relative atomic mass of each of these elements times the number of atoms present. For example, I have 1 atom of sulfur. So relative atomic mass of sulfur times 1 atom of sulfur plus relative atomic mass of oxygen times 2 atoms of what? Oxygen. So the relative atomic mass of sulfur is what? 32. And oxygen is what? Oxygen is 16. So relative molecular mass of sulfur, which is what? 32 times, how many atoms of sulfur do I have? I have only 1 times 1 plus relative atomic mass of oxygen is 16 times, how many atoms of oxygen do I have? I have 2. So times 2. 32 times 1 is 32. Plus 16 times 2 is what? 32. 32 plus 32 is what? 64. So don't put unit because it's expressed as what? As a ratio. Okay, let's look at number 2. You are asked to calculate the relative molecular mass of lead-2 chloride. Lead-2 chloride. Lead-2 chloride. So relative molecular mass of lead-2 chloride. So how many atoms? The relative atomic mass of lead is what? 207. Chlorine is what? 35.5. Like I said, the relative atomic mass of the element will be provided for the student. It's always provided for the student. But with time, you still know all these things with time. You know them. Okay, so lead, what's the relative atomic mass of lead is 207. How many atoms of lead do I have? 1. times 1 plus relative atomic mass of chlorine is what? 35.5. How many atoms do I have? I have 2. So times 2. When you sum it up, it will now be 207 times 1 is 207 plus 35.5 times 2 is what? Is 71. So what will be the relative molecular mass of lead 2 chloride? So it will now be what? 278 is equal to what? 278. Okay, let's the relative molecular mass of copper 2 triosonite. Here, look at this. You have 2 outside this bracket. This 2 multiplies what is inside the bracket, but it does not affect this one that is outside. So it's like saying 2 times 1 nitrogen, 2 atoms of what? Nitrogen, plus 2 times 3 is what? 6. So 6 atoms of what? Of oxygen. So remember, relative atomic mass of each of the elements we provided. Copper is what? 64. Oxygen is what? 16. And nitrogen is what? 14. So relative atomic mass of copper, 64 times 1, 64 times what? 1 atom of what? Copper, plus 14 times 2 atoms of nitrogen. Anyhow I want to do it, if you want to put the atom, number of atom first times relative atomic mass, you are still correct. Plus relative atomic mass of oxygen is what? 16. 16 times 6. So 64 times 1 is 64. 14 times 2 is what? That's 28. 16 times 16 will give you also what? 96. Let's sum up the numbers. 64 plus 28 plus 96 is what? 188. So 1888. Remember, don't put unit. It's just an expression of ratio of the relative atomic mass of the element and that of what? Carbon 12. Look at the number 4. Relative molecular mass of magnesium tetraoxo sulfate 6 heptahydrate. So here I have what? 1 magnesium atom plus 4 atoms of oxygen plus this dot, you put plus. How many atoms of so I have 7. This 7 only affects what is on the right hand side here, which is water, not magnesium sulfate. It's just this water. How many atoms of hydrogen do I have here? Anyhow I want to do it, if you want to do it like this, 7 times 2, 14. 14 hydrogen plus 7 times 1, 7 atoms of what? Oxygen. You are still correct. 100% correct. Okay. So the relative molecular mass of the element present includes what? Magnesium. Magnesium is what? 24. Sulfur is 32. Hydrogen is what? 1. And oxygen is what? 16. Okay, let's add them up. Magnesium is what? 24 times 1 plus, I have 1 atom of sulfur. My relative atomic mass is 32. 32 times 1 plus oxygen, 16 times 4 atoms of oxygen, 4, plus 14 times, what's the relative atomic, how many atoms of, what's the relative atomic mass of hydrogen is 1, plus 7 times, plus 16 times, how many atoms of oxygen do I have from the water? That's 7. So let's add them up. 24 times 1 is what? 24. Plus 32 times 1 is 32. Plus 16 times 4. 16 times 4 is what? 64. 14 times 1 is what? 14. 16 times 7 is what? 112. So 4-6. So relative molecular mass of MgSO4.7H2O is what? 246. Look at the last exercise. Calculate the relative molecular mass of calcium tetraoxophosphate 5. So here I have what? 3 atoms of what? Calcium plus 2 times 1 for phosphorus. That's 2 atoms of phosphorus plus 2 times 4 for oxygen. 8 atoms of what? Oxygen. The relative atomic mass of calcium is what? Is 40. So 40 times 3 atoms of calcium plus relative atomic mass of phosphorus is 31. 31 times 2 atoms of phosphorus plus relative atomic mass of oxygen is 16. 16 times 8 atoms of oxygen. So 40 times 3 is what? 120. 31 times 2 is what? 62. 16 times 8. 16 times 8 is 128. So let's sum them together. 10. So 310 is the relative molecular mass of calcium tetraoxophosphate 5. That's nothing there. So what happened is that there's not if you're asked to calculate any relative molecular mass of any compound, it's very easy. You just the relative atomic mass of that element that is present in that compound times the number of atoms present. If you are asked to calculate the relative molecular mass of a compound in chemical equation, look at this. If you're asked to calculate the relative molecular mass of calcium oxide, and here you have what? 2 molecules of calcium oxide. Remember, in the definition, relative molecular mass is just 1 molecule of that substance, 1 mole of that substance. So I'll ignore these 2, because if I do 2 times everything I have here, it will be wrong. So relative molecular mass is always what? 1 mole, 1 molecule of that compound. So here it'll just be C1 indivisible 1. So it will now be 40 plus 16. For watching. We have come to the end of today's video. Let me ask you this question. Have you liked this video? Have you subscribed? If you're about to do that, kindly do. Thank you and have a great day.